Hi, thanks for coming to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about why you should start investing in the stock market. Before I get started, I'd like to mention that investing is not bulletproof. There's always a risk no matter who you are, how much research you've done. But with the amount of research, due diligence, and information and education that you have, you can mitigate those risks and you can increase your potential returns in the future. I also want to mention that 2020 has been a very crazy year in terms of the market. I've seen a lot of abnormal gains. I've seen 40 to 50 to 60% returns on portfolios, myself and people. And I want to really encourage people to not become overconfident in their stock market abilities. Uh, Not to say that you don't have it. I think 2020 is not the year to gauge how much skill that you have in picking. It's abnormal times call for abnormal gains. So please keep that in mind. Do not become overconfident and always do your research. That being said, let's get right into it. So the first reason why you should invest in the stock market is that your savings account is losing money every year. So a basic savings account is making about 0.01% to 0.05% per year. You might say that you have a high yield savings account. Okay, so you're making about 0.5% of interest per year on that account. Yeah, that sounds great, but when you think about inflation, which is the price of goods every year, it's going up about 2.5 to 3% per year. So if you think about it, your savings account is actually losing money because it's not keeping up with pace with the price of goods. That being said, there is a way to keep up with the price inflation, and that is investing in the stock market. So the stock market grows about 10% per year. We gauge this by the S&P 500, which is 500 large cap companies in the United States. So they grow about 10% per year, and this is before inflation. So after inflation, you're making about 7 to 8% on average. I really want to emphasize that this is an average, and it's not guaranteed you're going to get 7 to 8% per year. You could be less, you could be more, but that is the average. And this is not to encourage people not to put money into a savings account, not at all. You should definitely have a savings account, but you should also be funneling some into an investment account. The second point I'd like to bring up is that if you're like me, you want to retire early. And the best way to retire early is to put your money in a place where it's going to grow interest, particularly compound interest. Albert Einstein once said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And he said this interest, because in a compound interest grows on interest. So you have money in an account, you're growing interest on that initial amount, and then the next year you're making interest on top of that initial amount with the interest. So you're making interest on top of interest. That being said, the earlier you put that in, the more compound interest has its time to work and work and work. And the more time, the more interest you're gaining. And it's a substantial increase when you think about it. I actually want to talk about an example. So if you were to put $300 into an investment account making about 10% per year with inflation about 2.5%, in 35 years, you will have $1 million. The third thing I'd like to mention is that it is getting increasingly easier to start investing in the stock market. There are multiple brokerages on the market that you can get on any phone that you have, the iOS market, the Windows market, the Android, but they're easy to download, they're easy to use. All you need is a bank account. There's zero fees, initial fees needed, zero annual fees. All you gotta do is put in $1. There are even options to purchase partial shares. A lot of people think that you have to buy a full share. Oh, I don't have $3,000 to purchase a share of Amazon, but you don't need that. You can do it as little as $1. You can get a piece of that company for only $1. Of course, it'll be reflected of how much a percentage of that 3,000, for instance, would be. And that being said, I wanna close with saying that investing is risky. I know I made it sound really appealing and super easy, but you need to do your research. You need to do your due diligence, and you need to continue to find education that'll teach you. My channel, I will continue to be providing information on how to get started for these people just getting their toes in the game. So Please stay tuned for more videos. I really appreciate you sticking to the end. Like, subscribe, comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Ask any questions. I'm more than willing to answer and have a discussion. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.